Yo, it's Andre. I'm back with another video. In this video, I'm gonna talk about the times I saw the spirit world, right? So I'm gonna let y'all know something about me, right? I can't see the spirit world, while I'm physically awake on on this realm, while I'm fully awake, right? But I gotta tell you something about myself to how the times. Can remember since I was born, I'm 35. Since I was born 35 years ago, and all the way up to this day, I've seen the spirit world in different ways, because like I said, there are times when I saw other spiritual beings, but every time I saw them, I was in a trance on a regular basis. Or when I was laying down, I went to bed at night, and then my mind projected out my body. Yeah, that's the only way I can see the spirit world. So I'm going to talk about my experience, over the, I'm not going to talk about everything, because there's countless times I explored the spirit world, Like, I projected my mind out my body, and just, was traveling for the fun of it, yeah. So I'm going to talk about, I'm only going to mention a few times I've been to the spirit world, because even though I've been countless times, or beings show themselves to me countless times, I'm only going to mention a few times, throughout my life. Just a few times, because there's too much to mention. So I'm going to mention some beings I'll mention in bits and pieces. So let's see. There was a time where it was when my parent, back then, as a teen, when I was, my parents, we used to move from house to house, but then there was this one house where when I went to sleep in it, right? I remember one time my mind projected out my body, and then I fell into a trance, and then I saw a sphinx. It looked like it was a creature that looked like it had a body of a lion, but then it had the head of a man, but then it looked like he was wearing a pharaoh hat or something. Yeah. I saw a spirit being like that. And then what else? There are times when spiritual beings just manifest in random ways. Like I remember I saw a floating eyeball that was see through, like that appeared out of nowhere, right above me when I was looking at it. And then there were times I was just doing things, and then the spiritual being contacted me. I fell into a trance. Now, I'm going to talk more about myself, how I talk with the spirit world. You got to remember, I never sought it out or never seeked it out. It's just, that stuff happens by itself whenever it happens, yeah. Like, I remember one time, okay, it's like this. Every time I'm visited by a spiritual being, like when they're curious about me and want to talk to me, Every time I'm visited by a spiritual being, I fall into a trance, like a trance-like state, but yet I'm fully awake. And it depends too, like, then sometimes it doesn't matter because I'll be sleeping at night, and then my mind will project out my body that way, while my body's sleeping. But then there are times when I could just be up doing things, and I'll still fall into a trance while I'm standing up. Like, it doesn't matter if I'm outside playing, I'm running around, or just enjoying the trip through the forest, or riding my bike, or I'm playing video games, or I'm drawing, or I'm enjoying my naked female collection, my harem, on my devices. It doesn't matter what I'm doing at the moment, or I could be chilling, or I could just be. So basically, whenever a spiritual being from a distance sees me and decides they want to talk to me, they'll come up, they'll say, hey, and then all of a sudden I'll be like this. I'll fall right into a trance, and my mind is automatically projected out my body. And it doesn't even matter if I'm sleeping at night or if I'm still awake. My body will still be standing or sitting up in the chair. And I'll just be like, because basically it's called being half awake, half asleep, or something like that. So it's only when I'm half asleep or half awake. It depends on how unconscious I am when it comes to this realm. So my body will go into a state where, so basically I'll be awake enough to where I can keep my body from falling. I'll be able to stand up still, and I can still move even when I'm projecting my mind out my body. So basically, because if I go into complete trance state, then my body would need to have something to catch it. But when it's like halfway, then, because there were many times when I projected my mind and I still felt my physical body on my pillow. I said all I gotta do is open my eyes and my mind will be sucked back into my body. I felt my eyeball still through behind my eyelids. All I had to do was open my eyes, and then I'll just simply go back into my body. But I said, nah, I'm not gonna do it. It's too easy. But anyway. But then there are times when I couldn't even feel my body. Yeah, it depends on how unconscious my body is. But even if it's just like a little trance to where I can still be physically in my body while outside my body at the same time. Basically I can still move my body while I'm outside my body at the same time. It depends on if I'm a little bit in the trance. Yeah. So anyway, even by being in the trance a little bit, I can hear the spirit world. I can see the spirit world. Yeah, basically, because otherwise there'll be no way of me seeing the spirit world. I can't see it in my physical body. I had to project my mind to see it. So anyway, But even if it's just a little trance to where I can still move my physical body as I'm currently on the spirit at the same time, then I will see the spirit world still. Like it's yeah, yeah. But if I go into the spirit world too much, then my body will need something to catch it. It's gonna fall down and be like, or it'll be like unconsciously. Yeah, yeah. I have to make sure I'm not anywhere where. So yeah, yeah. So if I go into the spirit world by a tiny bit, I can see the spirit world, and while simultaneously still being in my physical body. So anyway, let me see if I remember. Yeah, every time I'm gonna mention a few spirits that visited me. It's like different times, you know. And then there are times I randomly just saw a random spirit. Like I saw a sphinx one time. Yeah, yeah, yeah. There's many species out there. I'm letting you know. And then there are times when I saw. Let me see. I'm gonna mention different beings I saw. Just a few of them though. Let me see here. There are times when I only heard their voice. I said it was just a disembodied voice echoing from the ceiling. You know. Yeah, yeah. Yeah. Then there were times I saw what they looked like. I remember there was a time I went to this house. Right. Basically, it was the time when our family moved from that house, right? I still had the house key. I went back just to show the house, you know, even though it was deserted. And also, I remember I sat on the couch that was there, right? And all of a sudden, a random spirit, like I can remember, I was fully awake. I was just chilling. I sat on the couch. Basically, when I was walking around, then all of a sudden I got asleep out of nowhere. And I knew I said, "Oh, okay, it's one of those trance things." So I simply sat on the couch, and all of a sudden, a random spirit ran down the hall. You know, can remember that when. My family used to live there, but now it shows itself, huh? But anyway, basically, probably Dog. I'm letting you know, like, there's many personalities, and probably Dog can just mess with me. You know how a lot of spirits like to just pick on humans because they know the average human freaks out, so they like to be like all haunting and scary to them, just because it's like, yeah, yeah, yeah. They like to pick on humans, like, and not all spirits. Don't get me wrong. I'm saying like some spirits are used to doing that to humans. So, anyway, I remember when I went back to that house, you know, just to see what it was like there without any. Ventilate, you know, like because we moved out of there, you know, it was like before anyone bought it, right? I basically just sat on the couch or the random couch that was left behind there, right? And you know, there was some stuff left there. So anyway, I sat on the couch, and then all of a sudden, a spirit ran down the hallway. So, but I sensed it running down the hallway towards me, but it moved so fast to where I could barely saw it. But it ran towards me at fast speed. I'm not saying light speed. It was fast enough to where I sensed it coming towards me. Really, but it was like really fast to where I couldn't really see it. Okay, it was like, you know, how spirits can just like move so fast, and so basically it moved at a very high speed to where I saw it coming, but I barely caught a glimpse of it. And then next thing I know, it was on the left side of me, and I saw a tail like it was like a ghostly Black Panther's tail. Basically, it was a tail that was like a black tail, like it belonged to a bobcat the way it looked. And then, or wait, don't they have long tails? Yeah, that's all I know. But yeah, all I know is that like I saw the tail. Basically, I saw the tail to the left side of me like this, and then the spirit was on the left side of me, whispering in my ear, saying, and then while I was doing that, I saw the ghostly tail like this, like just like, you know, so it looked like it had a tail. That's all I can say. But it basically ran to the side of me to where I couldn't really see it because it was so fast. And then when it was whispering on the left side of me, so basically it ran down the hall right at me. I saw it coming at me because it moved, because it was at a speed where I still saw it like coming, but it went so fast that I barely caught a glimpse of it. Basically, when it saw me in that place, it ran at me. I guess it was trying to freak me out. So, but anyway, yeah, all of a sudden I was like looking at the place, and then I got tired out of nowhere. And I sat down on the couch, and then instantly I was in a trance. Then the spirit ran down that hallway. Because the couch was facing that hallway, right? Yeah, yeah. The spirit ran right at me, and then it went to the side of me and said, right in my left ear. And then I even saw the ghostly tail, like doing this. You know how like a cat's tail moves? It's just like it's like this. It's bendy and all. It's like, you know, they're like, and then well, its tail was like long. I don't think it was like yeah, it was long, but it was like it was like curling up on the top of it, and then it let loose and was just like, you know, like being like this, like just all. And then it was whispering in my ear. So anyway, that tells me that spiritual being was some spirit that didn't really know about me. Basically, it attempt was to freak me out. Yeah, that's what I picked up when it was doing all that. And I was just like, and then I simply just didn't care. Then the spirit saw that I wasn't freaking me out. The spirit was like this. It saw that I wasn't freaking out. I simply just didn't care. I was like, then the spirit noticed that I didn't care. Then what it did was it went away after that. It was like, then it said, it just went away. So yeah, that spirit had no interest in talking to me. It just wanted to freak me out. So but they had no idea I was a human that's not freaked out by the spirit world. I have the highest knowledge of awareness of a human being, so I'm fully aware that even the supernatural things are there. I mean, you gotta understand, I'm aware of the spirit world like I am aware of the physical world. I'm aware of many things that exist, so therefore supernatural beings cannot freak me out. Yeah. But anyway, it turns out that supernatural being did not know about me. Remember, when we lived in that house before I moved out, basically, oh yeah, because you know how there will always be spirits at different places at different times, right? So that means that spirit that came up to me wasn't living there at that time, because it did not even know about me as a human. I guess that's so. Basically, that spirit just went in there after my family moved out at some point. It simply just like went into that house, and probably went in when the landlord opened the house when no one was there. You know how they have keys to the house, so someone probably just went into the house, and then random spirit just went behind her and entered the house. And then when she closed the door and locked it, the spirit just was in there ever since. So so that see, yeah, I'm just using that as an example. Okay, it didn't know me. It thought I'll freak out. They're used to picking on humans, so But anyway, but I only saw a part of it. Basically, it was on the left side of me, and it looked like it had like a ghostly tail. It looked like it was like some kind of like bobcat's tail, but it was like long, and the tip of it like could curl up like this, and then it could. It was a long tail. He could like bend it while let it just flow out loosely like a cat's tail. It was like yeah, and then from when I saw that tail, it was basically a tail that was see through. It looked like it was see through. Yeah, it was black, but it was like a see through tail. Like it was like you could see through it. It was ghostly. But anyway, when basically I knew what it was doing. I simply didn't react. I said, and then it saw it, and then it simply just gave up and left. So I see. So that tells me that was a spirit that decided just to move in there after the family left. And then there are times when, but then the times when we were living in there, I saw random spirits that were just living in the house with us. That's the thing. But then there are spirits that move into places when you leave. That's how it goes too. And then other spirits will just leave too. Like when you leave, then some spirits might leave too or stay there. And then some random spirits will just move in there, and that haven't lived in there before. Exactly. So it's like whoa. So I wanted to talk about that experience. Because there's so many things that happened during my life. Yeah. So what else? Okay, the next thing I'm going to talk about is this. Okay, there was a time I was visited by a succubus. Yeah, this was like years ago. Like, let's see, I was like, you know how I'm 35? I was like 24 at the time. 24 or 25. It's around that time, but yeah. It was the time I was living in Salvation Army. Like, they have apartments in there. Apartments, like apartments you have to rent. So there was a time when I was living in Salvation Army, I moved into there. It was like my first apartments, right? And basically... Yeah, cause now I'm in my own house. But see, let's see. I say 2 places I lived at before. I was living in Salvation Army, and when I left Salvation Army, I moved into my friend's house where I was living with him. Before I decided to leave, and then sometime later, that's the last human friend I decided to separate from because he got into baby and mama drama. Exactly. But yeah. But anyway, like there was time I lived in this house and I paid rent there. Yeah. They allowed me to live in that house, and I helped them out. When I do business, I do it with my fellow people. That's the thing, like on the average basis. So I paid them, but they charged me such a cheap price. See, that was so nice. But yeah, it's like, yeah, I was like, what, really? Yeah. But anyway, I make a business deal with only my people. That's just how I operate on that regular basis. That's what I try to do. Yeah. It doesn't really matter where I shop, but most times most times it'll just be with my own people. But then there are times I would go to other shops too, even if they're not my people. It just depends. Yeah. Oh yeah. So anyway. I'm gonna talk about a spirit I visited. Right, it was a succubus, so she was one of the demon kind. And she was a female demon, so that's why I say she, because she's a girl spirit. You gotta understand, male and female spirits exist. Like it turns out goddesses. Male and female is not just a human and animal thing on the physical world. It turns out that every species that exists has a male and female. It doesn't matter. They don't even have to have our bodies. They could just be a female essence itself, just like there's a male essence. Yeah, they don't even have to have the same body types that we got. It's like, it will just be male and female is not just a physical thing, just like, Oh yeah, just like how the Earth is a female, and she's not shaped like a human at all. The Earth is actually a girl, the Earth that we stand on is actually a girl entity. Exactly, see? And she don't even look like a woman. Yeah, see, it's not a human thing, I'm letting you know. It's not a male and female animal thing. Any species can be male or female, that's just how it is. Oh yeah, so... There's a male and a female of many species, even spirit beings. Yeah. But anyway, as I was saying, now Now, succubus are basically, I don't know if I'm saying it right. What is it? Succubus, succubus. Yeah, I know that there's a term for the male and female, succu being, right? Yeah. So anyway, I might be saying it wrong, I don't know. But what they call succubus? Yeah, or succubi, or, but all I know is that she was a girl spirit. So anyway, I remember, so here's what happened, right? I was just simply, like, at that moment, I was on my desk just drawing, working on my comic book series. One of my hobbies is I make my own stories, my comics, right? I draw the panels, the characters, the word bubbles. I plan out the story in my head and I just write it down. Basically, I make my own stories to this day just for the fun of it. It's just my own personal story. I think it's cool having a series I made myself that I can read for myself whenever I want. I love it. It's so cool. It's a series I made myself. That's how I see it. Yeah. So I do. I draw in anime style. I'm a good artist, and I could draw anything that I copy from real life. If I were to look at a dresser or a cat, I could draw the exact copy of it. I just choose to draw in cartoon style. Like I choose the anime looking Japanese style. So when I do comics, all my stories look like a manga. Yeah, I like the Japanese anime look. So that's why my characters are anime looking. So anyway, so as I was saying, I'm a good artist. That's the thing. But I prefer to just draw anime on purpose. Yeah. That's why I don't really do sketches. Even though I can, I choose not to. Let me see here. Oh yeah. So anyway, now it was at that time in that old apartment. It was in Salvation Army when I was in that apartment. That was one of the places I lived before, right? Basically, I remember I was like drawing, and all of a sudden I got sleepy out of nowhere, and then I decided to get up off my chair, and then I simply lay down on my bed. And the moment I lay down on my bed to take a nap, instantly my mind projected out my body. And then it was another visit from a spirit, right? So basically, then I said to her, now I was unconscious enough to where I still felt my back on my pillow, my body. So I was still connected to her. I was still like, but I was so unconscious. That was one of those strong visits to where I basically didn't feel my body somewhat. 'Cause I was like, yeah, it depends on how much of my energy I put into the spirit world. How much my mind projects. Then sometimes I'll go to the spirit world loosely to where I can still feel my physical body all at once, But anyway, it was one of those moments where I couldn't really feel my body, but only a little bit, like when it comes to laying on my back. But anyway, I was in the spirit world, and then I met a succubus, a female spirit. She's a hi, but she didn't tell me at first. But I just, I'm aware to a lot of stuff, so I was able. Basically, I knew she was a spiritual being, but I had a feeling that she was one of the demon folk, Like I said, I don't judge beings based off if they're a heavenly being or a demon or anything in between that's not an angel or a demon. I just don't assume the worst of any being. I'm respectful to living beings in general. So yeah. But anyway, the reason I was able to sense that she was a demon is just I had the feeling. So So I said. She said, "Hi, I'm." And then I said, "Well, she didn't tell me." She said, "Hi, how you doing?" I said, "Hey, what's up?" Then she said, "I really like you a lot." I said, "Oh, you do?" So yeah, I really do. I love you. I like you a lot. So I was wondering. Well, we talked, and then she said, so tell me. So this is where things started hitting off, right? She basically appeared to me as a woman, but she was literally orange in color. She was like, because with me on that regular basis, I'm attracted to women that are like, I like Asians a lot. That's all I can say. Asians, they're my favorite type of woman. So when it comes to the races of women on Earth. So anyway, she basically was she appeared to me as a humanoid woman. I mean, she was a human woman. She was basically a woman, a human woman, right? Except she had orange skin. Yeah, and her nipples she was butt naked, right? Her nipples was dark orange. She had the perfect size where she wasn't too big, but she was like busty. Yes, I was like, whoa, that's hot. Yeah, she said to me that I like you a lot. And I said, can I fill you up? So basically, when she got close, I basically touched her butt cheeks and squeezed it. I said, whoa. I said, you are so fucking fine. She said, yeah? I said, but let me ask you something. Because, she likes me, right? I said, let me ask you something. She said, yeah? I said, what species are you? What spirit are you? She said, you really want to know? I said, yeah. She got close to my ear and whispered, I'm a succubus. And I said, oh, I see. Well, I'm going to head back now. Bye. As I turned around. And then she said, no. She latched on to me. And I said, hey, listen, even if you're another spirit, the reality, I'm a human, you're a spirit. We're two different beings, Yeah. It's not just the fact that you're one of the demons. It's like you could be an elemental, you could be a fairy, you could. Basically, it didn't matter to me. It doesn't matter what species of spirit that they are. It's just the fact I don't do we call it. I don't do crossbreeding or hybrid. Like interdimensional. I don't believe in, like, we call it, sleeping with a being that's a different species from me. That's just how it is. So that's how I am. It's like that's just how it is. Regardless, you know what I'm saying. Even though I find a lot of the goddesses hot of the heavens, I do not sleep with them or touch them. Yeah, in that way. But anyway, the thing about it is that I'm a human being, so if I were to sleep with a female being, it would be a fellow human. That's just my personal choice. I don't believe in crossbreeding with another species. That's just me. Anyway, she said no. She latched on to me, and then I tried to resist her physically, with my strength, my physical strength, right? My physical strength, right? I said, get off me. I said, and she's like, no, no. She couldn't handle the rejection. You know what I'm trying to say. She said, no. And then I was like trying to resist her. You know how it is. Like, I'm so used to being on Earth, my physical body. So I did things the physical way, right? I was trying to resist her. And then what she did was she turned into some kind of murky liquid to where she was like attached to my mental body. She was like literally, she turned into like some kind of liquid, like as if she was melting. But she still she still has her form, but part of her was becoming liquidy and murky, like like sticky, like liquid or something. And I said, oh yeah, I forgot. Like, I remember. This is the astral world, the spirit world. All I have to do is imagine something. Oh yeah, I remembered that. You know what I'm saying? I remember that. I said, okay. So I said, oh, I know. So basically, what I did, I imagined going Super Saiyan, like in Dragon Ball Z. Ha! Releasing a lot of energy. So basically, I imagined that. So basically, I imagined saying, ha! I did that with my mental body. I just simply said, ha! And then what happened was it manifested, like, yeah, for real. Basically, it did not feel how it felt. Basically, it started in my mental body's head, and then it came out through my head and into reality, around me, and it actually happened. And then she got flung off, to the end of my room. I was in my room during that time, so she got flung. Because basically, I returned to my body. I want to see where she's at because I can't see the spirit world when I'm not in a trance. So But anyway, basically what happened is she got flung to the edge of my room, like the farther edge to my room, and then after that, I was able to return to my physical body. I woke up completely. I woke up completely because I was trying. When I told her bye, I basically was heading back to to head back to my physical body. How my mind is projecting out my body, but still attached to the body. I basically turned around, was heading back to my body, but she delayed it, saying no. That's why I couldn't go back. And I said, oh yeah, I just got imagine going Super Saiyan. So basically, I remember how it felt. Basically, it's so cool because when you're in your mental body, it's as if you still have a physical body. Because it's like I still have my same look. But I was just ghostly, that's all I can say. That's the best way I can describe it. It's a projection of my body, so I still felt my arms and my legs and but the only difference is I was floating on air. That's it. I was like, because I don't really stand on anything when I'm in that mode. So anyway, I remember, so basically when I said ha, basically my arms literally did this. I put my arms to the side like this. Yeah, I did this. Ha! I did this. But see, as I did it, I imagined it at the same time too. Because that's actually how the mental world works. You can't use your physical where you're used to on this realm. You have to, in order to move forward in the spirit world, you have to imagine moving forward. It's kind of tricky even when you travel. You have to it's kind of different from what you're used to in the physical world. So anyway, I said, ha! I literally did that. I did that pose, and I imagined going Super Saiyan at the same time. And then the what happened within my head as I imagined it, I felt the manifestation coming through my head, outside of myself, surrounding me. See, so basically, as I imagined my head, it came to life outside of me, and then it happened. And then she got flung over. But I'm mentioning how it felt. It's like it started in my head and came through my head, throughout my surroundings. Like the imagination popped up in my head and came out and happened in reality. Ain't that something? That's called manifestation, huh? So anyway, I said ha, and then she got flung off me hard. Yeah, even her liquid parts, every part of her got flung off me, and she got flung to the edge of the room. Now after that, I returned to my body, and then I went back to what I was doing. Now during that time, she probably she was still in my room, right? At the time, I bet. I don't know if I can remember. I can't see this well. She probably was just. I bet she was at the edge of the room, still being like, "Huh, he rejected me." And then basically she decided just to leave the room at some point. She either went through the ventilation shaft, you know, or she probably just like went under the door. You know how there was an opening under the door, so she probably turned murky, went under the door, and left the room that way. So like I said, yeah, because exactly. Now, because of that experience, I want to tell you people real quick when it comes to succubus and succubi how they work. They're attracted to sexual energy. So whenever you release, when you come or get an orgasm, remember that's not a bad thing. That's only natural. I'm just saying, like, there are spiritual beings. There's actually sexual spirits that are attracted to that energy. Yeah. But just like all spirit beings, they cannot like just take your sexual energy by force unless they get your permission. It's like having sex with a woman, right? Yeah. In order to do it with a woman, you know, you have to get her permission. Otherwise, you can just rape her, force her, right? But it's better to just get her permission, right? So anyway, when it comes to succubus and succubi, you know, male and female sex spirits, right? They need your human permission. Basically, they'll be attracted to the energy that's released from your body every time you orgasm, or if you're simply just like you're in the process of you're masturbating, or you're just enjoying, even if you're not masturbating, you're enjoying looking at your naked female harem. And basically, there are energies that's released from you, and basically that attracts sex spirits, right? But they can only cipher the energy that comes off of you. They cannot take your main sexual energy unless they have your permission. So when she came my way, yeah, she said she loved me, and basically, she wanted to get serious with me, right? So basically, what I'm trying to say is that okay, I'm gonna explain it. You ready? It's like this. When you release, like, there are spirits that can just like take some of your energy for themselves and enjoy that small part, right? But in order to actually have your main energy, your sex energy, they need your permission for that. So when she was asking me out, she wanted to, you know, she wanted to get into a serious relationship with me, and that was the only way she could access my main sexual energy. It was my permission. But I told her no because we're two different species, you know. Yeah, I'm a human. You're a demon, one of the demon kind. So we're just two different species. I can't. Yeah. But of course, she took no for an answer, and I couldn't get back to my body because she was like latching onto my mental body, saying no. And I was like this, and I couldn't throw her off. And I said, "Oh yeah, I forgot. Thanks for reminding me, Source. That's right. When I'm in the mental world, all I had to do is imagine something. Oh yeah, I forgot. Okay." And she was like this. She was like. She got flung off. Dude, I just imagined it happened like in reality. I'm like, wow. The mental world is crazy because you just gotta imagine something, and that's also how you move too. Remember, when you're a human and you're new at the spirit world, is basically even when you move, it's different from when you're on the physical world. You're used to just moving. When you're walking somewhere, you're just walking somewhere. Or if you can fly, you know, if you have, like, you know how birds can fly, they're flapping somewhere. Or if you know what I'm saying? In the physical world, the physical beings of this world are used to just moving somewhere so easily. In the spirit world, you have to imagine moving forward. Otherwise, you can't move. That's actually how it works in the mental world. So, anyway, you can't just, like, use your traditional travel on the spirit world. You have to, like, imagine moving forward. So, like I said, I can't really explain to you how that works, but I just know that you have to imagine something for it to happen. So that requires your energy, so when you do that. So those who are new at it, the reason why when you're in the spirit world, I remember someone I knew told me that they went to the spirit, they were new at it, they were below a giant city, right? And they couldn't move anywhere. And the reason why he couldn't move because he was new at being in the spirit world. He knows who I'm talking about. Like, the ones, as I'm saying this, he knows I'm talking about him. But basically, the reason why he couldn't move is because he's new at the spirit world, like projecting his mind out of his body. So he didn't know that you had to imagine moving forward. Or if you want to fly up to the city that's above you, that you saw above you, all you had to do is imagine flying upward towards it. Exactly. So the spirit world travel is different from what we're used to, you know. So yeah, he didn't know that. That's why he was still in the same spot. Yeah. Oh yeah. So anyway, so I'm letting you know, the one that knows who I'm talking about. That's why you couldn't move. Because you were new at it. That's it. You're just new at... Yeah. So, if you ever project your mind out of your body again, remember, just imagine moving forward or flying. Since when our mind's outside of our body, we're basically floating in midair. We don't have to be on the ground if we don't want to. That's the thing. Oh yeah. So anyway, but yeah, I had to talk about that. Basically, a succubus cannot take your sexual energy without your permission. I'm saying the main source of your sexual energy. They cannot take it without your permission. And at that point, that's basically like having a relationship with them. You know, when you have sex with a human man have sex with a human woman, you're enjoying a sexual experience together. That's pretty much similar to the succubus. But then some sexual demons would be mischievous. Like they would literally try to secretly take the sexual energy without your knowledge. Like even when you give them permission, they'll basically try to secretly take more than what you allow. But anyway, they cannot take any at all unless they have your permission. They can only get the pieces that comes off of your body. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So anyway, I'm telling you how they work. You know. So anyway, because I rejected her, yeah, she went away. Yeah. So even no, I enjoy masturbation and enjoying I enjoy my naked females. You know, for myself. You know, everything to do with a female body from head to toe, bare feet. You know, completely naked. You know, all the way from head to toe. You know, nipples, vagina, butt cheeks, boobs, titties. You know, I enjoy my woman, my females. And basically, now, notice how succubus don't mess with me anymore, right? Well, that was just at one time. But basically, because most likely, when I rejected her, she told other succubus and other succubi, or even the ones who are gay, succubi, and said, I wanted to get with him, but he rejected me. You know, can you understand, information spreads in the spirit world so fast, that's all I can say. So many species of that same spirit won't mess with you because they know you're going to reject them. Yeah, huh? Exactly. So that means they know that. Yeah. So that's why I haven't been visited by one again ever since then. That was like years ago at this point. Yeah. Let me see if I remember. Let me see. Oh yeah. And then there are times when I was like, oh yeah. Then there are times when I projected my mind onto a realm. You know, another one. You know how there's many realms in reality, like within the 9 heavens and earth. There's like realms you could visit, you know, pocket dimensions, all that, but they're all just in one. Remember, every realm is within the 9 heavens and earth. Like they're all in the same. We're all in the same universe. That's it. So anyway, I remember one time I projected randomly onto a realm outside my body, and it looked like it was a locker room. Like it looked like a school building. It was basically a locker room, and it basically, okay, you know how when you see inside of a school, you see lockers, and you're in the hallway. Basically, I was in the hallway, a corridor. That was random. I said, oh, cool. I'm in the spirit world. Oh, whoa. You know, I'm just going to imagine something randomly. Because, you know, by then I was a pro at understanding how the mental world worked, the spirit world worked. So basically, I decided to imagine something, you know, funny randomly just to scare myself awake back into my body. Now, there was no reason to do this. I was experimenting. Basically, I said, you know, I'm going to imagine something random. I know. I'll imagine The Grudge. You know The Grudge from The Grudge movie, the horror movie? I imagined just a random scary looking ghoul. And then she appeared she appeared right there. I said, and I woke up like this. And I said to myself, why did I do that? Because it's different when you see it, though. Like, it's like, I just imagined her, you know, being right there. She popped up because of my imagination. And I imagine her saying, and I said, you know, I'm imagining that. The moment she appeared saying, I said, and I woke up like, yeah. When you're in the mental world, make sure you control your imagination because it can get tricky if you're not careful, if you don't learn to control your energy. So, now I control my energy at a time. I just chose willingly to imagine that. I didn't have to imagine that by choice. I just chose to. I said, dang, that was dumb. Because I could have just explored that dimension more. And now, remember, when you project, you don't always go to the same realm. That's all I can say. Like, you can go back to the same realm, or you can go to different realms, or you can create your own pocket dimension. That's all I know. But that's all I know. So, but I said, dude, I could have explored that school-like area. I said, sheesh. What was that building about? I wanted to, yeah. But anyway, I don't know how to get back there. That's all I can say. But anyway, because there's realms that I don't know how to get back to. I would just randomly pop up on different realms. You know, it would be random. Remember, I don't know the geographic of the spirit world, so I don't know how to travel to different locations. Nope. Yeah. Anyway, but since that was part of the spirit world, I bet if I open a locker room, there'll be a random ghost. Whoa! Or there'll be like many entities just, you know, doing things or living there. So yeah. But anyway, yeah. And there are times you can go to grasslands, you know, forests, you know, because spirit worlds have their own domains. Forests, trees, you know, buildings, you know, cities. So it's like all kinds of. You gotta understand that every being is a demon or an angel. There are beings there are realms that are living on our Earth realm with us that we can't see, or they could just be simply in the sky that the clouds and all that, or even below the clouds, and we can't see it. 'Cause remember, not every realm is in heaven or Earth. There are realms in between as well. Like there are spirits that live on Earth alongside of us, and they have their own society, but we can't see the invisible world. That's just how it is. So yeah. Like if you see, for example, if you see forests, or trees, right, or you look at the bushes, be aware that there are fairies living there, because they tend to live wherever there's greenery. Exactly. We just can't see them because they're ghostly in nature. And then when it comes to mermaids are physical like us. So if we saw a mermaid, we could see them physically. But they live in the ocean and they hide themselves a lot. They used to be Earth woman, but they lost their humanity centuries ago. So now all they say is this. Yeah. So you know how it goes. But anyway. Now before I close my video, I want to mention a few other experiences. Let me see here. Oh yeah. Now there was a time that I was visited by the highest heavenly being of the heavens. Or it could have been the source just showing a humanoid face behind the light. He wrapped his face in a light. And the way it looked, it was basically a proud father. A look a father gives his child. Imagine a man, right, with a beard and a mustache like this. It was all connected with their afro hair. So basically, he had a full-on humanoid look. Basically, he chose to show himself that way. But I remember one time I was visited by a heavenly being. It could have been the creator himself. Like I said, he just chose to manifest his face. He chose to manifest it as a face wrapped in behind lights, which is the sun as well. It's basically, based on what I've been told, that was the Heavenly Father at the time. Okay, the Heavenly Father one time. I remember one time. It was nighttime, right? Let's see, I think it was like 9 a.m. or some. No, 9 p.m. Sorry, 9 p.m. It was at night. It was nighttime. I went to bed, and then next thing I know, flash. I was surrounded by light, and I saw a man's face coming towards me, and it was the Heavenly Father. I got Heavenly Father vibes, basically, he was behind the lights. He wrapped himself in the light, and he manifested that surrounding. He basically transformed into a human face. Think about a man with a long beard and afro hair. It's fully grown and connected. His nose, his face. He chose to manifest it as a human man's face, like basically a fatherly face, right? A man human face. And basically, how it looked when it comes to that vision, he basically did this. He had a proud father look. Basically, when that vision started, the moment I went to bed, I was in the highest heaven. It was surrounding light. I didn't really see anything. It was just it was surrounding light. And then all of a sudden, his face came towards me. Behind the light, he decided to show a human face. And basically, he had a proud look like this. So here's how the vision went. Ready? I went to bed. And all of a sudden, flash. I was in the highest heaven. It was all white light. And then all of a sudden, the face came toward me like this. And as he got close to me, flash. I woke up again. And then that was it. That's how it played out. Basically, he did this. Then flash, I woke up, and then I woke up in my bed, and it was 9 a.m. in the morning. The sun was up, the birds chirping, and I said, "What the?" Yeah, and the reason why I say that is because it felt like a couple of seconds. I'm saying when it comes to that experience, I was there for like a second, and all of a sudden I was there, and he did this flash, and then I woke up after that. But dude, I was literally there for seconds. He came toward me like this. Flash, I woke. That's all that happened. Flash, and then I woke up, and it was like 9 a.m. And I said, dude, it felt like I was there for seconds, but then it's already the next day. It was already 9 p.m. 9 a.m. Now that was years before I was aware of how time is different in heaven and on earth. Because back then I was not aware of that, so I was wondering how it ended up being in seconds. It felt like seconds, and then yes, the next day. And then sometime later, years later, the source told me that Andre, the truth is, I exist outside of time. Outside of time, so I see everything at once, and not only that, every movement I do in creation, when it comes to those are just heavenly beings acting out for me. Some people will call them time lords or something. I'm like, what? I said that's how it works. Yeah. Whenever I move within reality, that's not me. That's the heavenly beings moving for me to carry out my blessings and my curse. Because I cannot be with y'all. It's like this. I'm omnipresent. Even movement, time itself comes out of me. But I can't be with y'all, like, in the way y'all, you know how you're used to being someone being with you right next to you. I am with y'all, but while simultaneously, I can't really be with y'all on that concentrated matter unless it's through a mediator. So when you say mediator, you mean like it could be a tree, an angel, a spirit. You can only talk to us through existing beings. That's right. And if it's not them, I could talk to y'all from within your own self. How y'all have me within y'all. I can talk to y'all from within. Within your physical body, within your basically. You know how I tell you I look at the source within. That's the creator you're looking at, and and that's him. You can communicate with him just from that. So basically, I was told that he because even though time comes out of him, he exists beyond it too. So he can't really communicate with us on that level without things happening around us. That's basically the Father in heaven said that because he chose to show himself as a proud father, coming toward me, behind the light. Basically, I was at the highest heaven at the time. So he only did that because by when the time period that he did that, I woke up the next day and it was daytime. So with just those few seconds, when I went to heaven, those few seconds, it was the highest heaven too. Just those few seconds that he showed himself to me like that, 8 hours on Earth went by. So basically, if I was there longer, if I projected my mind, and if I was there for like, let's see, a minute, then a year on Earth would have went by, and then my body would have died in the sleep without nutrients. But then again, he could have supernaturally just gave my body nutrients, so I could stay in stasis for a year without going hungry. The source could have chose to do that too. So it depends on how he chooses to do it. So, but all I can say is that if I stayed there for 1 minute, then a year would have went by on Earth. How do you explain that? Exactly. Because I was told that time up there is whack. It's like the higher you go, the faster time on Earth moves. The higher you go in heaven. That's all I can say. And if you go to the highest heaven, then time will go by so quickly for even just a couple of seconds. You could be up there for like 1 second, and 1 hour on Earth goes by, or even 2 hours, 3 hours, or I don't know. That whole thing is screwy. Can't really mention it. It's like, let's see, 1 second up in the highest heaven is 1 hour on Earth. Okay. No. 1 second is like 5 minutes. See, I can't really say because when he visited me for a couple of seconds, a whole from 9 a.m. How many hours is that? From 9 a.m. to I might be calculating it wrong, but basically I went to bed at 9 p.m. and then I woke up at 9 a.m. So any commenters, tell me how many hours that is in my comment section. I'm bad at math, so how many hours is that from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. From 9 p.m. to 9 a.m. I meant to say. So tell me, folks, how many hours is that? Let me know in the comments, But then again, later I can look it up. But if you want to tell me in my comments, let me know. So anyway, from 9 a.m. to from 9 p.m. to 9 a.m. That time passed when my mind projected to the highest heaven, and the Father showed Himself to me behind the light, in a humanoid face form that He chose to manifest Himself as. It only lasted a couple of seconds. The next thing I know, it's 9 a.m. in the morning. Exactly. So basically, I was told that. Oh yeah, that's right. Okay, I think this is recorded in the Bible somewhere. Right? Isn't this in the Bible? Like, that's right. So basically, when it comes to thanks for telling me, source me. Okay, basically, he said that a day that passed by in heaven, 24 hours in heaven. If you go up to heaven for 24 hours, for a day, it will still feel like the same 24 hours you are on Earth, right? But the difference is when you go back to Earth after you've been in heaven for 24 hours, then 1,000 years would have went by on Earth. You see that? Crazy, huh? A day that goes by in heaven that will feel like 24 hours will be 1,000 years on Earth. Exactly. Now I see one of the many reasons why humans don't go up to heaven, are not allowed to go up to heaven, really, because we'll be freaked out when we return to Earth. But all I can say is that, let me see here. All I can say is that, All I can say is that, oh yeah, and then if it's that way in the highest heaven, then imagine like being the source who's beyond heaven. Basically, what he said to me is that he sees all of time at once, even on to eternity. He sees everything at once, everything at once. So that's why he can't really be with us humans, you know, in that way. Like he can only be with us like you know, through a mediator or through ourselves. Remember, we're incarnations too. So he's also with us within ourselves, and that within ourselves is that same self that started everything, which is still him. So we're literally him, you know. And if you want to see that same source, just look within yourself. Be like, exactly. So that's right. So yeah, because other than that, he literally he sees everything at once. That's how he experienced time. He sees everything at once. So. And don't ask me how to explain that, because I'm a human being as well. I cannot explain certain things in human words, so. But yeah, so anyway, I wanted to talk about that too. Now, I'm going to mention one more thing, because there's many times I was visited by spirits, or I simply went to the spirit world. Let me see, I'm going to mention one more thing. No, I'll mention two more things. Okay. There was a time where, you know how like, there are times I was visited by demons or spirits, right? Or angels, or... Now, there are times when I got tired of, I remember one time saying, you know, no, I wasn't tired, I was just thinking, like, I said to myself, you know what, now that I think about it, why is every time they visit me, I fall into a trance and I talk with them? But, you know, maybe I should go to them for once. Maybe I should go to them for once. Maybe I should go to them for once. So basically, I say, you know what, I'm going to go to the demon realm, I'm going to visit them, I'm going to go to them myself. You know how they always visit me? I said, you know what, I'm going to try to visit one of them for once. So I said, now, I don't know how to do it when it comes to reverse. You know what? I'm going to go ahead and borrow this. I said, okay, now I got a Ouija board. Perfect. And basically, it's not as dangerous as you think, because some people are not protected. Well, they're like basically because the source is always been with me, things are not allowed to happen to me. So I say, you know what? I'm going to just go to the demon world myself to see what it's like to approach them first for once. So I got myself a Ouija board, and I simply, I was by myself in my room, I used a Ouija board. I said, hey, I decided to, what's up, guys? I said, I decided to go to y'all realm for once. I said, spirits of all types have always visited me, so and then the realm I decided to go to was the demon realm. I came here just to troll y'all. Yeah, so I said, and then they're like, oh shit, you're one of the humans we can't do anything to. I said, that's right. So let me ask y'all something. Oh yeah, scratch that, I want to talk to Lucifer herself. And then they said, it's alright, please don't stick an angel on us or something. That's what they said. I said, oh, I won't, I promise, I'm a man of my word. And then I said to the mother in heaven, I said, tell me, why did you try to be a feminist up in heaven at that point? And then she said to me, just because. I'm like, yeah, she said, yeah. And I said, huh. Yeah, I remember I said, we just conversated, but that's all I'm going to say. But basically, when the conversation ended, I made her look like an idiot. I basically defeated her in a debate, and I made her look like an idiot among many of the demons and devils and fallen heavenly beings, fallen angels. And yeah, but she couldn't do anything about it. And then I basically, after that, I said, all right, I'm done. And then, let's see, then I remember like days later, I decided to visit them again. And then all of a sudden, the portal was closed. Like, none of them would answer me. I said, dang, they really don't want to talk to me again. The demons, huh? Oh, okay. I guess there's no use for this Ouija board, so I got rid of it. That was the last I saw of it, so. But anyway, basically, when it comes to the demon realm, they're afraid of protected humans. Humans that the source don't allow anything to do with, so. Yeah. So the demons can't even haunt me. You know, they're not even allowed to haunt me, so yeah. But anyway, I basically, what was I thinking at that time? I was like, I'm always visited by spirits, so let me try to go to them for once. And that's it. Then I remember I was like, I was fiddling with a Ouija board, or I was meditating, like, you know, cause just before I got a keyboard, I said, and then it was said to me that, sorry, the spirit world, like the higher dimensions are very hard to reach. So unless they visit you, it's hard to reach. I said, oh, I see. And then there was it was like a telephone. Then the other being said, yeah, you don't have to visit the spirit world, because the creator, you know, the source that's above the heavens and earth is in you. You can just talk to him about it, and he will give you information about anything. I said, true. I just want to talk to my fellow incarnated beings. That's why I'm doing this. You know, it's just an experiment. They said, oh, I understand. I said, well, why not just contact the demon realm? Because the demons live on Earth like y'all. They're closer to this dimension. I said, perfect. That's where I got the idea. So anyway, I didn't brought it up early. So anyway, I went to the demon realm. Like I said, that's how all that started, right? The demons don't have anything to do with me. Because not only are they not allowed to do anything to me, they're not allowed to haunt me. And they're afraid of me. Dude, the first thing that one of them said, you're not going to stick an angel against us, are you? And I said, no. I said, honestly, I mean no harm. I'm just here to hang out and to be honest, to troll y'all. they're like, huh. They're like, you know what I'm trying to say. It was like, and so yeah, I wanted to talk to their big boss, you know, the mother in heaven. So, but yeah, it turns out that she did what she did. She said just because. And then I remember talking with her about different things, and I had a debate with her, and I made her look foolish. I said, nah, I said, listen, you were created to serve the Most High, and you know it. She's like, and she did this. She's like, she couldn't say anything, because she said, dang it, he's right. But anyway, so that's how I defeat her in that argument. But then after that, I said, all right, that's it. So I'm gonna see y'all again one day. Then days later, I decided to visit the demon realm again. But the line was closed. It's like on the phone, the number you dialed is disconnected. So basically, when I tried to visit the demon realm again, the pallet didn't move. I said, "Wow, looks like I got kicked out." Okay, yeah. Basically, you know how when you use a Ouija board, you know how when they want to talk to you, they'll let you know through the yeah. Basically, the pallet didn't move. There was no movement. Yeah. See, the demon realm had enough of they had enough of me. So. Yeah, they didn't want to talk to me. It's like this, when you think about it, because of my protection, they cannot haunt me, they cannot do anything to me. They're only allowed to do that to other humans. When you hear about other humans being killed by demons through Ouija boards, or even if they don't use a Ouija board, they'll be attacked by any spirit or wild animal in the world. Those humans are not protected, that's why. So demons can do what they want to those humans. But then when it comes to humans like me, they can't do shit, so all they can do is be like this. They can just look from a distance and be like, dang it. That's it. Yeah, dude, no wonder they said, you're not going to send an angel against us, are you? I said, why would I do that? I'm just here to hang out, you know? But anyway, now, I met demons that are considered dangerous, the different levels, too, and even the ordinary ones. And, you know, when I say levels, I'm saying rankings, and they're ranking, yeah. And then, yeah, fallen angels, you know, and even the boss of, you know, in the original Satan, and the boss, and then you know, the original Satan couldn't be disturbed. He said, hey, I'm busy in Antarctica, leave me alone. And then the Mother of Heaven spoke to me, and you know, it turns out she's the same chaos that tried to get our attention in the physical world. You know how like random things happen around us? It turns out that's just chaos getting your attention, trying to get your attention. The Mother in Heaven, another term for her. So yeah. But anyway, I talked to her, and you know, it was connections, networks, all that. So I beat her in the debate. She looked foolish. I said, wow, she's been alive for all those generations, and a human made her look like a fool. But anyway, after that, I left and said, all right, I'll come back maybe one day. And then, let's see, it was days later, I decided to troll them again. I used it to try to communicate with them, and there was no movement. I said, looks like they closed the line. There's no use of this Ouija board anymore. So I threw it in the trash, and that was it. So since then, I never tried to contact the spirit world again. But yeah, whenever spirits try to visit me, it's like they always came to me themselves, and it's like, yeah. So I said, you know what, I'm gonna try to go to them for once. So anyway, so yeah, that's how it is. And because demons are actually afraid of me, I'm one of the humans they're afraid of. If anyone's if demons are messing with humans, trust me, you don't want me as your friend, because if I approach your haunted house, the paranormal activity would flee and run. Because demons don't like humans like me. So, so basically, if anyone's being attacked by a demon, just go after one of the just any human that you know in your life, you know that the source is with. Just ask them or her to be with you that night, or tell the spirits to leave, and they will. So yeah, any human you know that the source is with, that the covering is with, just go to them and tell them to come back to your house, and you know what I'm trying to say. But anyway, as I was saying, let me see. Oh yeah, I'm gonna mention this too. This is the last thing I'm gonna mention. You know, there's so many things to mention, but I'm not gonna talk about lifetime of experience. You know, I'm 35. I'm not gonna talk about all those years of experience. So, let me see here. Yeah. Oh yeah, I remember. Okay, there was this time right when I went to we call that restaurant. I was passing by, but I remember I went to. I went to that restaurant a couple of times too. Okay, it was near where my family used to live. Where we used to live before I moved. Oh, Arby's. Arby's. That's right, Arby's. You know those Arby's sandwiches, those sliders, all that. Excuse me. Basically, I went to Arby's, right? I remember I went there and I saw a man. Remember, be aware that those men exist, but it does not mean sexual attraction. That's all I can say. Now there are men that exist that have feminine beauty. Okay, even though men are majestic, you know, we're supposed to look like, you know, roughed up, masculine look, you know. There were actually men that have a feminine look, but then again, some men could also be born women, and they had their sex changed, you know, through surgery. You know, they basically changed their sex artificially, which is still unnatural. That's disgusting, because even if you change your sex with technology or magic, you are still who you are naturally, who you're born to be. Anyone born a man, even if you turn into a woman, you're still a man. It doesn't matter how you go about it. You can use magic to change your sex. You can use technology, you know, surgery to change your sex. You are still the sex you're born as. So you're just a fake, you know, opposite sex. That's it. When you do that. So anyway, basically, because there were guys who were originally female. That explains why there's some. That's also plays into why there are guys who behave like a woman, because they're actually really a female in disguise. Yeah. But anyway, and then there are guys who just simply think who are guys, but they simply are just attached from the Y chromosome, and they think with a female mentality. Their X chromosome, yeah, that's what I mean by they're detached from the Y chromosome. Some guys are born corrupt, attached from a part of themselves. That's why they behave like a woman. And then there are guys who become that way, you know, do training of the world system, school, and all that to think like a woman instead of their complete self. So it can go both ways and all that, you know. Or it could be a spirit who transform. It could be a person who transforms with magic. It could be a person who used spirits' powers to transform into supernaturally without surgery. It can go both ways. So yeah. But anyway. But there are guys who exist who have a feminine beauty, where you would see them, but then you would get flustered, like, because they'll basically be beautiful as a woman. They'll be no different. But am I have I ever been sexually attracted to those type of dudes? You know, pretty boys and all that? No. Because no matter what, they are still a dude. That's the thing. I don't care if they have a female beauty. They're still a dude. Cause you gotta understand, guys. I don't know if many people can make a distinction between the two, because most people are not really that aware. Most people, when they get flustered, they automatically think that's lusting. They don't even understand there's a difference. So basically, it's like this: when you get flustered by a pretty boy or a woman, you can actually be flustered at them without being sexually attracted to them. There's a difference. Okay, if you go a step further, then that's sexual attraction. But when you get flustered or like, whoa, you blush, but that by itself is not sexual attraction. That's just being flustered. But most people can't seem to make the distinction between the two. So. Anyway, when I went to Arby's, there was a worker there I've never seen before. He was a white boy, a white man, right? A white man, but he had the beauty of a woman. Like, he literally had feminine beauty. He was like basically, cause I went to the Arby's many times, right? Like a couple of times, you know, over, you know, the years since we lived there. It wasn't as much as Wendy's though, but it was like sometimes I went to Arby's. And when I went there was a certain number of workers, right? And I'd never seen him before, and I've only seen him once too. Even when I went back there, I didn't see him again. But okay, I'm gonna tell you what happened. Basically, I went there, and he was a worker there, and basically he had feminine beauty, and I was like flustered because even before him, I remember when my old job, Super Target, there was a guy who worked there, worked at Super Target, and he had female beauty. And back then I was like, how is it that, like, he's a dude but he has female beauty? I was like, what the? I get flustered every time. And then, because remember back then I didn't know how to react, so basically I just had to get away from him. I remember when I went on my lunch break, I bought something, a sandwich from the deli, and I saw him. I was like, I can remember back then I was like, yeah, he's a guy, but he's beautiful like a woman. So I had to get out there. I was like, and I simply left it. You know what I'm saying? Back then that's when I was like I was basically like, I think a teen, so it's like I didn't understand I didn't understand what I was feeling. I was like, how is he so? But yeah, it was because that's called being flustered. Yeah, it's different from sexual attraction, you know. So yeah, it's only because he had female beauty, and I didn't know how to react. So to me, it was like gay. So I had to get out there. Yeah, yeah. So every time, and then I didn't look at him again. He was wondering why it was like. I said, yeah, I said, yeah, because it's like, so how is he a guy but he has a female? See, yeah, yeah. So it's like, but then it feels like even though I was flustered back then, I didn't know what that really was. So to me, I just assumed it was. I said, dude, it's like it's gay. I never lusted after them sexually. I was just flustered because of their beauty. Yeah, yeah. So anyway, let me see. Now this is years later. Now when I went to the Arby's, right? I saw a guy there I never saw before. He was white. He had blonde hair. Let's see, blue eyes. Let's see. He had the beauty of a woman, but he was a dude. And yeah, he was working at a. Let's see. He had working at Arby's. He said, "Here you go." He was kind to me. I said, "Oh, thank you, sir." But remember, because it was years later, I was more mature, so I understood the difference. Basically, I was flustered at him too, but this time I understood the reality. So I was flustered by him, but I knew I wasn't sexually attracted to him. So that's why I said I appreciate it. And then I said appreciate it, thank you. And then but still I wanted to get out there fast because it's like I said, dude, it's just to me it's just too weird for a guy to have a female beauty when they're supposed to be majestic, not feminine beauty. They're supposed to be masculine beauty, not feminine beauty. So anyway, I basically I wasn't rude about it. Don't get the wrong idea. I just simply had to leave quickly. I just don't like. It's not sexual, but I hate the idea. I hate the fact I'm flustered at a guy. That's the thing. So anyway, I said, but I wasn't rude. Don't get the wrong idea. I basically said I appreciate it, sir. And I walked away. But I was secretly trying to go away quickly. But anyway, then after I got away, I basically wait no. After I left, I sat down, ate my plate. And then I took the bus back to. Back then, I was still living at Salvage Army. I took the bus back to my apartment in Salvage Army. I went back to my apartment, and then I got sleepy. I got sleepy out of nowhere. I said, "Wait a minute." So, well, looks like another trance thing. So I went to sleep, and then all of a sudden, I had a vision of that same guy I saw at Arby's. It was that same guy, dude. It's very suspicious how that happened. The moment I got back to my place. Yeah, when I got back to my place, all of a sudden I had a realistic vision. But basically, I got sleepy. I laid down, and then I went into it. I was basically a spiritual being. Come here, you gotta understand how entities work. It's not always the creator. It's not always other beings. Oh, sorry. Any spirit can give you a vision in your mind. It doesn't matter what species they are. Understand that. So anyway, so I already know it was some kind of spirit. It was freaky, basically. But I remember, basically, when I went back to my apartment, you know, that same day, right? After I got it from the Arby's and I ate. Then I went back to my apartment, and then I laid down on my bed, and then I went into the spirit world instantaneously. I got tired all of a sudden, and I knew it was one of those trance things, so I basically laid down, and then I went to the spirit world, and I was in a random, vision. It was a vision. So basically, it was a vision of that same dude I saw at Arby's that same day. Yeah, that same dude I saw, and he was wearing a pink dress, and then and he was in the bathroom looking at himself. And then, yeah, he was in the mirror looking at himself in the bathroom. He was in a pink. It looked like he was in some public bathroom, but he was looking at himself in a pink dress. And the moment I saw it, I said, "Ew!" And then the vision, I said, "Ew!" I said, "Gross!" And then the vision cut off, and then I woke up completely. And then I said to myself, "It's suspicious how that happened." I saw that fellow human, at Arby's, and then I had a vision about that same human, you know, in a dress. And then I said, "Ew!" And then the vision shut off, and I woke up completely. So then I said to myself, "That is very suspicious." I said, "Could it be?" I said, "So some spirit sent me that vision." I see, because it's because I live in this world system too. You know how we all live in this society, right? So there's some entity somewhere wondering why, how's it that I've been alive all these years and yet I'm not gay, or I don't think gay is a normal thing. Is that the reason? Yeah, I think some spirit was confused by my sexuality. They're wondering, how is it that I lived on Earth and yet I don't accept gayness? Like, you know, how's it? Yeah, I'm mentioning that had to be what happened, right? Basically, there was a spiritual being experimenting with me, trying to see what my sexuality was. Yes, that's that. Hey, how else do you explain that scenario? Basically, they wanted to see if they can, you know, incite the gay spirit in me. Because how's it that I've been alive? Because it turns out gay is very common among men in this world system. Many dudes think gay is normal. So they have a lot of black men. Yeah, before I didn't know it was actually common even among a lot of black men. a lot of black men are gay or bi, or yeah. Okay, it's a lot. It's not just the other nations. My fellow black men. It turns out gayness is common among many men in this society. And surprisingly, a lot of black men are gay too. And I'm like, what? I said, yeah, it's not just whites, Spanish. It turns out a lot of black guys think that's normal too. So anyway, because I'm a black man, that you know how I live my life. I guess there's some spirit. To that prove spirits can't read your mind. They can't. They can send signals to your mind, but they cannot read your mind. That's how it is. So basically, there was a spirit that day trying to figure me out. That's right. Otherwise, that wouldn't have happened. So, how is it that I saw a guy at Arby's I've never seen before, you know, for the first time, and he was working there, and he had female beauty. But the moment I went back, I saw the same guy in the vision, and of course, the moment I saw the vision, I was like, ew! And then the vision cut off after I made that reaction. And then I woke up, and then of course, you know, I figured it out. I said, wait a minute, how is it that same guy I saw just now, recently, hours ago, and then I came back to my apartment, and I saw a guy in the vision. There was some spirit trying to make me, trying to see if I can become gay. I see, that's why. And then I noticed this too. Interesting enough, there were times when I went back to the Arby's, right? You know, 'cause there were times I would choose to eat at the Arby's. You know, the sandwiches are good, the chicken sliders, all that, with the cheese on top, melted cheese. Basically, I went back to Arby's a couple of times, right? And basically, I remember as I went back to Arby's to get those sandwiches, I noticed that he wasn't there anymore. That's very suspicious. It's all connected. Okay, how do I explain this? You gotta understand, there are beings that can pretend to be human at any time, that live among us. When it comes to them, you know, transforming into a animal or human is no big deal. When it comes to certain species of spirits, you know, it depends on the vibration. On average, it requires a lot of energy for spirits to manifest into physical form. But some spirits can. There are some beings who can transform automatically. Because fallen angels, mind you, who, for example, they're originally from heaven, so they can actually turn into a human on Earth so easily. Yeah. It's not just beings from heaven, not just angels, but even fallen angels. The bad version of angels can do it too. Just like the good angels can do it. Yeah. Exactly. That's an example. Some beings can transform, can show themselves with ease because of the vibration of spirit that their body vibrates on. So it's so easy for them. But when it comes to other spirits, it requires a lot of energy just to make a physical appearance. Like, when it comes to the lower ones, the lower spirits, So anyway, so that guy could have been just a transformed spirit, you know, from one of the beings who could turn into humans and animals so easily. Or he could have just been a random human that was just being used, you know, to try to entice gayness into me. Yeah, so it could have went both ways. But anyway, I went back and I noticed how he wasn't there anymore. I said, huh. Yeah, I wasn't looking for him. It was more like, as I went back a couple of times, I did not see that same guy ever since. I was like, huh. I said, could he just been sent there to... Is he just a human that was just used to try to entice gay to me? Or was he a transformed entity that turned into a human just to work there? Knowing how spirits have all kinds of powers, they could have even hypnotized the guys that were there to thinking that he was always one of them. He was always one of the workers there. I don't know, but that's all I can say. So I said to myself, yeah, it doesn't matter either way. Because it's very suspicious how I saw the same dude in a dress. And then the moment I said, ew! I turned my head saying, ew. Then I woke up completely. So that let you know some spirit was trying to figure out what makes me tick. Yeah, there was some random entity trying to figure me out. They couldn't figure me out either way, so they try to... Yeah. And then I learned later that it's actually common for guys to be gay. I was like, what? There was more gays than I thought. That's all I can say. I didn't know that it was common for most men to be gay. And I said, dang. Yeah, no wonder most humans are hated. Yeah. Why the creator's like gross. The creator's like, to most, I see. So that's basically just a common thing. But I, in all my life, would never be gay. Ever. That is disgusting. That is unnatural. That's right. Yeah, but it's pretty interesting how it left certain spirits baffled. Like, there are entities that are part of this world system, right? And there are entities that wondered because I've been alive for all these years, right, on Earth. I'm a grown man. How is it that I'm not gay yet? So, you know how, like, there's some humans that they're, you know what I'm saying? 'Cause remember, they even try to get chosen ones, too. They're so arrogant that they try to get everybody to accept anything as the new norm, right? So they're shocked at how I've been alive for all these years. But then I guess some beings don't even know about me because the universe we live in is a big place. So yeah. So some spirits were just like, how's he been alive all these years and he's not gay? He doesn't think gay is normal. What? Yeah, see? So they were trying to figure me out. Yeah, so that's how else do you explain that vision? Like how they try to, yeah, they were trying to see if they can make me gay. But no matter what, here's the reality: a man can have a woman's beauty, but he's still a dude. Understand that he still has a penis and balls. He's still a dude. I don't care. To me, it doesn't matter if a man has masculine beauty or feminine beauty. I would never be sexually attracted to them ever, because they're still a dude. The reason I'm sexually attracted to a woman is because by nature, the way God designed it, I'm only sexually attracted to human women. It's being a human man. That's right. So, and then when it comes to feminine beauty, women are made to have feminine beauty, while men have majestic beauty, masculine beauty, which is handsome, majestic, yeah. Or rough looking, hard looking, which is also called hard beauty, yeah. While feminine beauty is called soft beauty, another term for feminine beauty, yeah. So anyway, I had to bring that up and talk about it because it's like, I said, wow, there was some entity back then trying to figure me out. And like I said, I had countless experience with the spirit world, and I've learned to go to the spirit world by myself. Like I mastered this technique a long time ago too. Basically, if I choose to want to go visit any realms of reality, all I have to do is go to sleep and travel through my second mind counterpart as a portal. You know, my emotion / ego / shadow mind. Basically, it turns out the reason why I could travel to the spirit world whenever I want, I've learned how to do it. Basically, all I got. Oh yeah, so see, remember, I didn't always have the ability to just visit the spirit world on my own. But then, years ago, recently, I've learned how to do it. So I just before that I wasn't told about it, but then the source showed me how. He says, when you travel, just travel through your. You know how you're aware of the four components of your intellect, where your mind is made up of the four components. I said the trick to travel to the spirit world, you know, every time you go to sleep at night, right? All you have to do is travel to your ego counterpart within you. You know, your second mind component. You just use your second mind to project your mind onto the spirit world. It's like being born backwards. Yeah, you're traveling through the second mind as a portal, and then thus you're in the spirit world. I said, oh, so I can just do that by. Yeah, when you go to sleep, all you have to do is hang on to your self-awareness counterpart as much as possible, and then travel through it as a portal, and then voila, your body went to sleep by itself while your mind's in the spirit world. You see that? So I'm like, oh, so yeah, every night I could choose to go. I can actually choose to go astral travel whenever I want, or I can even do it now. I could just lay down and be like, yeah. And all I have to do is hold on to my self-awareness counterpart and let my body go to sleep by itself. That's it. So, oh yeah. As I was saying, yeah, so that's all I'm going to mention. So just be aware, folks. I have my regular experience with the spirit world. Many times spirits visited me, and then other times I would just choose to, astral travel at any time. I'll be like, now I know how to go there myself. So yeah. But yeah. I wanted to talk about my experiences, yeah. So, but now I can go to the spirit world myself, by simply just traveling through my self-awareness counterpart within me. So, as a portal, yeah. So, but yeah, I wanted to explain about, yeah. There's many experiences too. There's many adventures I went on, but I only wanted to mention just those few. So, there's too much to talk about. So that's all I wanted to say. Yeah. So, but yeah, I hope y'all take from this. Yeah, I've met a different species and of the different realms. Whether they're angels, demons, gods, goddesses, fairies, gnomes, sylphs, many species in between of the realms and the beings of the heavens. The light beings and the beings of the demon realm. The ordinary demons wandering around saying, "Oh, I got possessed something. I'm in pain." Right? Or demons who've evolved, who's been promoted by fallen angels, and fallen angel, I've seen all kinds of species, all kinds of, exactly. So, and I found, and like I said, yeah, all kinds of species, all kinds of kin, you know. But yeah, that's all I wanted to talk about in this video. So thanks for listening to my experience with the spirit world, you know. Yeah, yeah. Oh yeah, before I leave, I want to mention one more thing. Now, I want to mention one thing about myself as well. That's right, before I close, I might as well mention this. Now, even before I've learned to travel to the spirit world, through my ego counterpart within me. Did you? Okay, I'll mention this. Because this is before I learned how to do that on my own. Basically, there's a automatic portal that opens up for me. It turns out every day when the sun rises, I can go to the spirit world so easily, you know. It turns out there's like a natural shift to where that. Did you know that every time the sun rises, like to the side of the earth, I can go to the spirit world at will, and it's so easy. I don't even have to use my ego counterpart as a portal. I can just go there like that. It turns out there's a shift that happens every time the earth approaches the earth, to where I can just go there without going there my usual way. You know what I'm saying? Now this is even before I learned how to travel, through my second mind counterpart. You know, I can just go there around that time. It's just automatic. Like, yeah. There's like some kind of alignment that happens to where, yeah. So whenever I want to, all I gotta do is lay down and I can just go there. Yeah. I can't explain that. That's just something that's personally with me as an individual. So, yeah. But any other time, I would have to travel through my shadow mind in order to go to the spirit world whenever I want. So, yeah. But when it comes to when the sun approaches, that's automatic. But if I choose not to not to sleep, if I choose not to go into a trance and just stay awake, then I could choose to do that, and then I won't be going. That's the thing. But then there are times when I'll be awake, and then I'll just simply see things I normally would see things that's not in a trance state. It's like, wow. Yeah. So basically, there are times when I'm being in a dreamlike state while I'm awake at the same time. I will see both sides. Yeah. But I could choose to stay awake and not go to the spirit world. So I'm letting y'all know that there's pretty much an instant timeline for me as an individual that applies to me only. So basically, it's whenever a new day is approaching. When the sun approaches, I can automatically go to the spirit world easily on my own. No, not on my own. More like it's just an automatic. But I'm gonna have to like choose to just like be like this. Yeah. But then sometimes, even if I choose to stay awake fully and not go there, I will experience it while I'm still fully awake, as if I just did this. Exactly. So sometimes it's like that too. So it can go both ways, but yeah. That's right. So that's all I wanted to say in my videos. Peace.